Well, what a way to end off the season. The Bears win at home against Hunslet with a quite flawless performance. We've got all the reaction and all the analysis, plus all the gossip from the end of season awards. This is the end of the 2018 season. This is the world's greatest podcast about the Coventry Bears. This is Bears Necessities. Yes, welcome to Bears Necessities, your final episode of the regular season. We are, of course, sponsored by the Bears Vice Presidents and by York's Tim. You find us at Cov Bears Podcast with links to everywhere where we're available on there. We're at Cov Bears Podcast on Twitter, and we are very happy to be joining you. I'm one of your hosts, Dave Musson. Joining me back from his holiday, looking very tanned and relaxed, is my co-host Craig Cathcart. Craig, what a way to round off the season.
Yeah, amazing, mate. I'm absolutely chuffed. I'm smiling from ear to ear at the moment. What a way to come back from my holiday as well, to come back to a Bears win. Fantastic.
Amazing. So over the course of this show, we will, of course, give you the story of the game, although we don't want to linger too long on that because we're going to be heading off to the end of season awards very shortly, so we'll try and bring you some footage from that as well, and obviously we'll bring you the post-match thoughts of Bears head coach Tom Tsang, and we also got some news of players who have already committed to the Bears for next season and some new signings as well, so we'll pack a load in, but let's start with the game. Normally we might throw over to Tom straight away, but I think Craig, we should just talk about the game right here and now.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
So the final score: Bears 14, Hunslet 4, a second win against one of the traditional northern sides. And the story of the game really was that it was never in doubt. The Bears took the lead through Chris Barrett after about 5 minutes, making the most of a fumbled, excellent kick from Ben Stead that the Hunslet defender fumbled, and Baz was there to score, and Ben converted. And that was the score right through to half-time. And we'll touch on it in a moment, but the Bears' defence was superb. The amount of times they forced the turnover, forcing Hunslet through their entire set and not giving any quarter at all. There was a disallowed try for Reece Rance right on half-time that was given for a forward pass. And we can say this because we're independent and we're fans. It wasn't a forward pass. That was a wrong decision from the referee. But hey-ho, we carried on. Hunslet got a try 9 minutes into the second half. In fairness, it had been a while coming and they just found a gap in the defence and they scored, but they didn't convert. And a couple of minutes after that, Hayden Freeman made a break, was stopped somewhat cynically, and from the ensuing penalty, Ben Stead knocked it through the sticks to stretch the lead to 8-4. And from then on in, really, it didn't look at all like the Bears were in danger. They could have done with another score to make it more comfortable, and that's what they got in the 66th minute. Ben Gray scoring the final Bears try of the season. A brilliant grubber kick from Ben Stead on the fifth tackle, and Ben Gray was there to grab it, put it down. Ben Stead converted, as he always does, 14-4. And it was wonderful. And Craig, I mean, we've talked and we've heard Tom all season talking about wanted to make the next game better than the last one, and last week the heartbreak up in Cumbria, but still a brilliant performance, and they've done it. They've not only bettered last week's performance, but best performance of the season. I
think it certainly of the games that I've seen, it's the first what I would call a truly 80-minute performance. The Keighley game here was amazing. That was a brilliant result. You know, some fantastic performances that day. But today, the result really didn't look in doubt. It was just phenomenal. From what I gather, the performance today was up there. The performance last week against Whitehaven was up there with the performance today. The Bears didn't manage to get the results up there, but they did today. Defensively, without a doubt, this is the best defensive performance the Bears have put in all season. Attacking wise, they were unlucky not to create more, but actually they just shut down Hunslet every time they got near the Bears line. They just had no ideas. They ended up kicking through and just going for it and not really getting anything out of it. The Hunslet players got so frustrated near the end because they just couldn't get anywhere in the game. The referee today was inconsistent. decisions went against both teams, but we've talked about referees being against the Bears. At least it went either way. The scales of justice were there, and it could have gone either way. But the Bears were never going to lose this game at any point. There was a slight waver just after half time because Hunslet came out fired up like we were totally expecting them to do. But actually after that, when Ben Stead kicked the penalty to make it 8-4, it never looked in doubt. I've sat here on some occasions where the Bears have been going for a win and been really nervous throughout the whole game, but today I just knew they were going to win, and that as a fan is a fantastic way to feel. And to take another northern scalp down here at the Butts Park Arena next season, this sets us up. I don't think anyone's going to come here and take the Bears lightly, because we've already re-signed a number of players for next year. It really looks bright and really positive for next year. Yeah,
and it just goes to show. I was reading the one of the I think it was the Yorkshire Post did a pre-match interview with the Hunslet coach, and he was talking about coming down here and winning by 20 or 30 points to keep their playoff hopes alive. Like you say, no coach is going to be saying that ahead of a trip to Coventry next season.
It underestimated what the Bears are capable of, absolutely. And you would have thought after the performance against Whitehaven last week that they would have been coming down here thinking, this is going to be a tough game. And it was a tough game for them because the Bears came away with the win. Yeah. And I'm absolutely chuffed to bits that they did. A brilliant send-off for the players that are finishing this year. And, what a performance on the pitch. And what a support today we had. It was absolutely unbelievable, the noise coming from the stands. It was brilliant.
Real party atmosphere to round off the season. We'll mention one player who is leaving in particular later on in the show. So without mentioning him, were there any other players that particularly caught your eye? Because from my point of view, every single Bears player stood up and put in a tremendous effort there. I think Ben Stead's kicking in terms of game management was superb today.
Yeah, Ben was phenomenal today.
But everyone else on the pitch just did their job exactly, didn't they?
Cam Pearce-Paul again. What a performance.
He's a class act.
But I have to give it to the props today. Peter Ryan, Gertch, Ben Gover, they all put in a shift. It was just phenomenal. Ben, I've called him Ben before. There's too many Bens in the team. Dan Gover. All of the lads in the forwards today were phenomenal, putting their bodies on the line and giving it. And but also Chris Barrett was phenomenal. Kieran Sharrett again was phenomenal. Both guys on the wings were just amazing today. Reece Rance, some of the runs he was making and the yards he was making, he's turning into this great ball carrier now. He's a fantastic player.
Really, really is. Well, to be honest, I don't think there's much more we need to say about the game. You get the idea. The Bears were superb. Hunslet were never in it. I feel like we've spoken our piece, because otherwise we're just going to end up into rambling idiots saying the same thing over and over again. So right now, let's go over and get the post-match thoughts for the final time this season of Bears head coach Tom Tsang. Well, Tom, they're called the Coventry Bears, but the way the team defended today was more like Lions. You must be thrilled to round off the season in that way.
Yeah, it was a win built on our defence, and I think we took a lot of confidence, a lot of heart out last week against Whitehaven, and we knew that we should have won. I think back end of the game, we just sort of fell off and a little bit sloppy at times, but for the 70 minutes before that last week, we were really strong, and we knew that Whitehaven had wiped the floor with Hunslet, let's be honest, and so we knew that if we turned up with the same defensive attitude and wanted to work hard for each other, and the guys absolutely did, then we'd be able to get a result, and so it proved.
Where does today's performance rank for you in terms of thinking of all the games from the season? Because watching from the stands, that was probably more than any game I can think of where you could tell there was a real focus, a real positive energy, and a real drive and determination from your players from minute 0 to minute 80. Is it a stretch to say this is you've saved the best till last?
No, I 100% agree. I think that was definitely defensively, it's the most complete performance we've ever had as a club, without a shadow of a doubt. And the Keighley performance and the Keighley win down here was special, mainly because of the deficit that we turned over from the previous loss against Keighley. But we can't ignore the fact that Hunslet are still chasing or before today, were still chasing promotion and a playoff spot. They'd said in the press this week that if they beat us by 20, 30 points and other results go their way, then they're in the playoffs. So they had everything to play for. So the fact that we were able to do what we've done today just tells you all that you need to know about the squad that we've put together, the progress they've made, especially this second half of the season, and the resilience they've shown. There's been a lot of low lows, not just this year, but prior to this, and for the players to be able to keep picking themselves up, dusting themselves down, have short memories about what it feels like, but know where they want to get to. It's credit to all the lads, and I'm just really proud of them and happy for them that they've got the reward finally for some of the hard work they've been putting in.
Those comments, like the Hunslet coach talking about winning by 20 or 30 points, did you use that as motivation at all, or were you doing as you've done previously and just focusing on yourselves?
It got mentioned. It was mentioned in the week, not by me. A couple of players had flagged it up to me actually, and so they used it themselves as motivation. I think we know that we know there's a perception about expansion, about southern clubs, and about how there's an expectation for a northern club like Hunslet and a traditional club to just be able to turn up and go through the gears and put a comfortable score on us. And in previous seasons that's been the case, and even this season at times it's been the case, but we know that we're better than some of the results that we've put out this year. We know that we've got players that are more than capable of putting in performances like today, and if they were playing on other teams, that they'll be just as good as they are for us, and wouldn't sort of be out of place in some of the sort of the teams that higher up the league. So we know that when we put it all together, and we did that today, we know that on those occasions that we a match for anyone. We showed it. Bradford down here, 40 minutes, you couldn't tell between the two teams, and that's a full-time team. York, when they were down here, after 40 minutes, there was very little between us. Yeah, those games got away from us, but we showed then what our potential was, and I think today is just a culmination of all that experience that's been gained and picked up through the year. It's lessons learnt, it's emotions contained, and we managed to put it out in an 80-minute performance. Is
there any part of you that wishes the season was going on for a few more weeks, or are you ready for the break now?
Well, yeah, it's a shame that we don't have another couple of games that we can sort of build on this, but it's a great way to end the season, and I think there's a lot of sore bodies that are happy for a few weeks out, and I'm certainly looking forward to just being able to change my focus from team preparation into recruitment and retention for next season.
That segues very nicely. I don't want to linger too long, because obviously we've got the awards to get off to, and Craig and I have already talked about the list of players who have already committed to the Bears for next season, and the 3 new signings as well. It feels like as a club we're in a much stronger position in terms of recruitment compared to last year. The fact that so many players have already put pen to paper before the seasons are properly finished. Do you feel like you're in a good position going into that recruitment period for the 2019 season?
Yeah, we're miles ahead of where we've ever been before. I think I've said before, from year to year, we've never been able to transition more than 12 players or 13 players. I think we worked out as from one season to the next, which meant that we were having to find another 10 to 13 players to add to them, and when you're doing that, you're having to start from scratch pretty much, with your structures and your play calls and all the rest of it that goes around your tactics and things like that. So the fact that we've got, I think there's a dozen players that have either agreed terms or put pen to paper. There's another half dozen of the current squad that are fairly close. And are making positive noises, and I think today will hopefully knock some of those guys over the line. And then there's 2 or 3 of the guys that are also new players to the club that we're just going to add into the existing group. Yeah, we've never been in this position before, and it makes me really confident that we can roll into next year and focus on a bit more on fitness and strength work in pre-season, and not having to start from scratch with the play calls and the structure like I just mentioned, which means that we should hopefully be able to start the season further on and hit the ground running.
Great stuff. Well, I'm not going to keep you much longer, but just as one final question for the season, I thought I'd go for something that would make you think a bit more, a bit of a tricky one, just to end the season on. So, 2018 season, sum it up in 3 words.
Sorry for the pause. I don't know. I'm a bit overwhelmed by the win today, but 3 words. It'd be steep learning curve.
Good stuff. Tom, thanks as always, not just for today, but the whole season. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks.
So huge thanks to Tom Tsang there for joining us, not only today, but for the entire season. He's always up for giving us an interview, and it's very much appreciated. So Craig, before we jog on over to the end of season awards and see who's won what, wanted to take a bit of time to just go through some of the players who've already committed to the Bears for 2019. And we don't need to go into depth on these because they're players we've talked about all year, but just some kind of reaction from our point of view as to who we've already got committed. So the list of players as per listed in the matchday programme for the Hunslet game, in terms of players who are re-signing for next year, and you can just give me a sort of, well, I'm guessing the one-word reaction for all of them is just going to be great or excellent, but we'll just go through. So Kieran Sherratt, Hayden Freeman, Reece Rance, Dante Morley-Samuels, Brad Sheridan, Dan Gover, not Ben Gover, Ben Gover hasn't decided to sign, Peter Ryan, Cameron Stewart, Ben Gray and Chris Barrett. That's the core of an amazing starting team already, isn't it?
That's amazing that the Bears have signed these players so early on as well. I don't think we've ever been in a position at the end of the season to be talking about players that have already re-signed for next year. We're talking 22nd of September and we've already got a number of players re-signed for next year and some new signings as well.
Well, yes, very handy segue there. So it's 3 new signings to talk of. We've got John Sipawa, who is a second row or centre. We've got Jacob Jones, who is a second row or loose forward and is a local lad. And Mitch Shaw, who is a hooker as well. So very excited to meet those guys and see what they do on the pitch next season. But yeah, like you say, we were. I remember doing our episode November last year where we went through the new signings, but obviously that was November. Like you say, the fact that the season has literally only just finished and we're already got a really exciting list of players there, in terms of not just attacking talent, but we've got some great ball carriers, great defenders there. There's all the elements for a really strong team.
I mean, I think I was talking before the game with some people and saying that a number of these players this year have improved dramatically throughout the season. They've shown they've got the ability to cope to play in League One. They've shown how good they are throughout the season, and the squad has got better throughout the season. So, this is very important to keep this group together because actually I think they're capable of so much. And these lads have shown absolute commitment this season, and you can see on the pitch when Tom has had the opportunity to work with players week in, week out, players who come to every training session, players who work really hard, and you can see the improvement. It's absolutely massive. There's been some disappointing results this year, but on the whole there's been some absolutely fantastic results, and this group of players can compete in League One, absolutely.
Definitely so. Well, Craig, this isn't the end for our season, because I think we would only be doing ourselves an injustice if we didn't return next week with our own version of the awards. So we'll summarise our thoughts of the season next week, and we'll hand over some awards of our own. But I think for now we'll call that episode a day, and we will go over to the Bears official end of season awards. Now we're sat here recording this before the awards, have no idea how the audio is going to end up. Hopefully it'll be like last year, and you'll get a sense of the atmosphere and you'll hear the winners. But if it turns out rubbish, then you'll hear my voice again, and we'll go through all the winners, make sure you know what's what. But Craig, in terms of the season, job
what a
done.
Finish. Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely delighted.
I said that. Where was I? Yeah, I said that at the end of last season, it wasn't such a ending on such a high, and we went over to the road. We went over the road there and had a meeting and sat down and went, look, we need to find some sustainability. What can we do with the squad? It's been 4 years now, and you're thinking we need some sustainability. We've got to get ourselves to a position where we can start challenging these teams and being competitive with these teams. And I'm not going to keep going on about it, but we we have a bit more of a locally focused squad, and we trusted in the youth and we trusted in the guys that we signed, and those guys have done the business. I think today shown that. Last week, we were robbed. But basically, I thought we deserved to get something out of it. And this week, don't do this. This week, we proved that, and I think we proved to everybody. I also said to the boys, 18 months ago I sat in a meeting, and some clubs don't really support expansion, and clubs like ourselves and what we're trying to do. And, they think the game should be strengthened in other areas, and I think we're starting to prove people wrong. And I've had a meeting, had a message from Ralph Rimmer again today, another one last week. I've had more messages from him in the last 2 weeks, I think, in the last 4 years. But that's a good thing. There's a lot of controversy in the game at the minute, and we just got to keep doing the business, and the boys have done the business. So, massive credit to the coaching team, the medical team, all the boys. It's massive, and I'm really, really proud. Today's just topped it off. Massive, massive result. Just special thanks to the fans. There's a lot of people that have travelled a lot of distance to support us this year. This is going to go off in a minute. This is microphone here. We've got volunteers, sponsors, everyone that's made an effort, and everybody saying positive things about next season, about sticking with us as a sponsor, about sticking with us as a volunteer, and every little bit helps massively. Massively indebted to everybody for the time they give and what they do for the club. And everyone's friends and family, everyone that's here as well. People make massive sacrifices, and I really appreciate that. Thank you. Just answer tonight, if you can, probably can't read that, but young player, most improved player, attacking player, defensive player, coaches player. These are all the formal awards. Players player. We've got some volunteer recognitions. We've got some special awards, and we've got some alternative awards. I think there's a few people going to be chipping in on that one. But we're going to jump ahead, I think, and do some of the volunteer ones first. Yeah, we're going to recognise all the young lads that are running around today, and have been running around all summer in the heat, with the doing the ball boying and doing all the raffles and everything else that we do on game day. So we've got a few little medals here for all the boys. If we stick on the next one there, Tim. So if we can have Joel, Aidan, Robin, Ryan, Callum, Riley, Albert, Logan and Blake. I'd like to recognise Dave Musson and Craig Cathcart with some outstanding volunteer awards for the Bears podcast and what they've done for us on the media side this year. It's been outstanding. It's given us a massive platform to tell people what we're all about, and I think it's made a huge difference. It's allowed us to get things off our chest. It's allowed things for people to understand a bit more what we're about. And that, at this point with Rugby League, it's huge. It gives us a platform, and they've got to be. I'd like the two guys to be recognised for that. So, Dave Musson and Craig Cathcart. Just to mention for Rachel, I mentioned about fans and supporters, and I think Rachel's been the length and breadth of the country. She leaves early in the morning. She gets about 3 trains to get here. Just come all the way from Keighley. And it's honestly, we're starting to do something right when someone comes from that far to support you and what you're doing and what the boys are doing. And I think you massively deserve some recognition, Rachel. And thank you so much. got each nomination. We've got 3 nominations, and then we've got the winner of each category. I'll pass you over to Tom. It should be self-explanatory. Tom will give you a little bit of context about each of the players, and then pass it back to me and Alex and Gertz. I think we're going to do a few other awards as well.
Hello. So I think there's 3 nominations per category. So I don't know who's on this because I can't remember what we did. And also, I may or may not give a description about them, depending if I can be bothered or not. So, round of applause, please. Okay, Dante, stand up, please. Let's see you. Okay, so quickly on Dante. He's from Wigan. If you actually manage to speak to him, you won't be able to understand the word that he's saying, and he can't understand the word that you're saying either. Is a young lad joining the Bears for the first time. He's been fantastic for us actually. He played for the university, came through university. He's no longer at university. He failed his first year. He's known everywhere that we go because of, as you can see, his ginger afro. He's famous for that. But he's a great player. He's got great footwork, great ability, a lot of potential. He's not even touched it at the moment. So that's Dante. Next person. Okay, Cam Stewart, stand up, please. So some of you might recognise Cam, some of you might not. Cam came through what was the Midlands Academy as a 17-year-old, I think. How old are you now, Cam? He's done 2 years in the last 2 months. So he joined as an 18-year-old. He came through our trial system, our process in November. We weren't really sure what he was going to be capable of, but we saw some really raw, good ingredients, so we brought him into the first team. He's pretty much made every single session since November, despite not playing probably until June or July. I think his debut was against Keighley when we won here, and so that was a good one to power. And he's just gone from strength to strength to strength. And as a 19-year-old, this is his first season of rugby league, full stop. Not even at this level. So for what he's been able to achieve is fantastic. So big round of applause for him. And the last nomination is Hayden. Okay, just to clarify, so the boundary is 21 or younger, and he's just turned 21 about 3 weeks. Although he's been playing for us for about 3 years, and he looks about 40. He is actually, and he's got the quads of a 50-year-old. Okay, but Hayden, like I said, he's been playing for us for 3 years, so most of you will know who he is. He's our top try scorer of the club's history. His ratio is something like 1.5 games or something, so it's pretty. What is it? 1 in 2. Always corrects it. Okay, he used that as his bargaining chip when he was looking to re-sign for next season as well. So fair play. But no, he's a great asset to us. He's a really coachable young man. He doesn't make every training session, but when he does, he works really hard. But he's just a top class finisher on the wing, so fair play. And also, he's moved into the centre the last few games, and he's really looked the part there. So that may be where he stays. So we'll see him next year. And the winner is, please give us a drum roll. Quick drum roll. Dante! Now's your chance to hear his voice.
Well, speech won't be good for me because I failed uni first year. Well, cheers. Thanks. So much to say.
Dante! Okay, the next category is the most improved player. Don't really need to say much more. Again, Cameron, I've already mentioned Cameron, but like I said, from the start to the finish, of where we are now. He's come so far. He's not even recognisable in terms of what he's able to do now. So that's Cameron. Another round of applause. Oh, Peter Ryan. Talking about dodgy accents, Peter Ryan.
Where's Peter?
He's from deepest, darkest Dublin, and when I very first spoke to him on the phone, after another guy came from our trial in November last year, I really struggled to understand what he was saying. I didn't know whether he'd accepted to come with us or not. So I just said yes, and hoped they would turn up on the first day, and he did. Thankfully. But again, Peter's a lad that he's made so much effort and so much commitment to keep training, even though he wasn't getting into the team at first. He's asked the right questions, he's done the right things off the back of the feedback he's been given, and I think he'll be remembered for that shot on food.
Oh,
It went viral. Google it. Next. And Liam Rice Wilson, round of applause, please. Again, Liam came through the trial, so we had a pretty successful day, it seems. Again, it was a player that we took a punt on, I think, it's fair to say, because we saw some decent raw ingredients and we didn't know what he could become. But we thought we had something to work with, and again, just his attitude is fantastic. Spot on. A credit to his upbringing. I think he really sort of understands what he needs to do to make sure that he can be successful. And he's had more and more opportunity to play as the season's gone on. He's played different positions. He's played out of position a lot of the time. He's not grumbled. He's just gone in and done the job for us. But over the last probably 2 months, he's found himself sort of keeping hold of that hooker shirt, and number 9 as in position.
Have a look at his neck.
Cover it up a little bit. And he's made it his own, so fair play to him. Drum roll, please. Cameron Stewart!
I'd like to thank Tom and all the coaches for the opportunity to play for Coventry, and then Beddoes as well, because he taught me everything. So, big thanks to Beddoes.
So we split up the next couple into attacking player and defensive player. We used to have, I think it was a top try scorer award, but we didn't think that gave any of the forwards a chance to be mentioned in this. So this covers anyone in the attacking play. So the first nomination, please, is Ben Stead. So Ben's obviously our halfback. He came from Gloucester All Goals. We were actually quite fortunate that Gloucester went tits up this year, or last year, because we managed to get a few good decent players out. That's probably the thing we're good for. So. But back to Ben. So Ben has been the sort of the absolute driving force in everything we've done in attack this year. He's been ever present. He played in all the pre-season, and that was the aim, was for him to be the guy steering the ship. And he's done that fantastically. I think today he passed the mark for the what's the record, Ben? The record most goals scored ever for the Bears. So round of applause. Kieran Shaw. So Kieran, his second season with us, he's a second rower, but he can also play 9 apparently, which is good today. Which is actually funny because all the wins, so Scholars, Keithley, today, we finished the game with Kieran at 9, so I don't know if there's coincidence or...
Play there next year.
But Kieran is deceptive in terms of his, not his speed, but his agility. He can pass without that looking where he's actually meant to be passing it, which sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. But he's a handful for defences. They can't seem to tackle him first time up, and he always or often gets us on the front foot attacking wise. So that's why you're looking. And finally, Jason Bass. So Jason's been with us since our first season, and he's just got better and better as the season's gone on. You look at him, and he's only, how old are you, Jason? 22. He's got a worse rig than most of the people in this room. For such a what? No disrespect, but you're quite a small bloke. But you're deceptively strong. Like people, like literally, you run into the line, and then you're like, oh, it's got tackled. You look away, and then you look back, and he's still going, he's still pumping his legs. People can't put him on the floor. It makes tries out of nothing. He's attacking as a fullback, as a centre, as a winger. Throw him in at 9 every now and then. Throw him into the house maybe. He can do it all. So that's why Jason's it.
So massive thanks for this. I do appreciate it, other than the comments. Cheers. I do think the dad bod is justified. But yeah, thank you. Cheers.
The next category is the defensive player of the year. Obviously, like today showed, you win games with your defence, and so this is a huge part of the game. And if things are going well, you're defending 50% of the time. Most of the time, we're defending more than 50% of the time. So we need to be good at it. Or better than that. So nominations, please. First person is not here tonight. It's Dale Winton. It's Chris Vitellini. Chris is our one of our South Welshmen. He's been, and he's some part of him is Italian as well. He has been injured the last sort of month or so, but before that, he was one of the first names on the team sheet week in, week out, mainly because of his defensive qualities. He could play long minutes, and he very rarely missed tackles. And if he did miss a tackle, it was because he was chasing so hard that he wanted to make the and yeah. Anyway, so next person, Peter Ryan. I think you put on this purely for one tackle. We'll move on. Last one, Chris Barrett. Baz decided to take 3 months out of the season midway through the year. Said he had a broken leg, but we weren't sure. But I think he still managed to top the overall tackle count, even though he missed probably 10 or 12 games. That's probably because he was making half the steadies as well at the same time. But I've a lot to say, good things to say about Baz. I won't say it now because I think he's nominated for another category. So we'll move on. And the winner is Chris Barrett.
Everyone knows that I don't really do speeches, so I'll just say thanks. Leave it at that.
Okay, so there's just 2 players awards left, or 2 categories left, and then I think there's some others to finish off. So I'll just do the next 2. So Coach's Player of the Year, obviously nominated by myself, Alex, and Mark. I just want to take the opportunity just to thank Alex and Mark for helping me so well. Thank you. Okay, so the nominations are Chris Barrett, Chris Vitellini, for Jason Bass. And the winner is Chris Barrett. Well done, Chris. One of their speeches, thank you.
I don't really understand this one because me and Sammy just argue. But yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Can I get Martin up, please? Round of applause for Martin.
I'll be quick. Supporters Player of the Year is in honour of Dick Griffiths. People who don't know, not been around the club maybe for a while. Dick was the honorary life vice president of the club. He went home and away, even when he was ill at the end of his life. Always supported the club. Really, really, really positive force for the team. He was absolutely lovely bloke. We all loved him. And he sadly passed away about 8 years ago. And we've got a 1, 2, 3. I don't know if we're doing a 1, 2, 3. We are doing a 1, 2, 3. We've got a Jason Bass. Benstead. Dancing Ollie Samuels. And the winner is Benstead.
Okay, the last one for the players is the players nomination, and I always say this is the one that everyone wants to win because it's not coming from the coach, it's not coming from the fans, but it's coming from your teammates, it's coming from your peers. So this for me, this is the biggest one of the night. So the nominations are Chris Barrett. Next person. Jason Bass. And Benstead. Just before we announce the winner, just to explain how this is calculated. So all the players that have played for us this year were asked to nominate 2 players, and their number 1 nomination was given 2 points, and their second nomination was given 1 point. So this is calculated across that, and it was very, very close. These 3 were head and shoulders. But drum roll, the winner is Jason Bass and Chris Barrett. So as I just said, the way we calculated it was 2 winners. So unlucky said it. Although we might need to recount those allegations that someone voted for themselves.
I can't really believe I'm up here again. But now, to be honest, I thought Bassey was my vote anyway, so hats off to him. He's been outstanding this year. It's a shame that he's not sticking around. But well done, Bassey.
Pressure, Jace.
You got to stand there. I'm not decided yet. But yeah, same again. But yeah, cheers. Thanks for this, and as well, the band's been outstanding all year. Absolutely led from front, so cheers.
Just before I hand over, I just want to say, I'm sure other people will do as well, but just can we have a massive round of applause, please, for Alan Robinson? Me and Alan, we've always known each other a long time. We talk each other off the edge quite a few times throughout the year. the sort of the effort and sacrifice that Alan puts in is sensational, second to none, and the club wouldn't exist without this man here. So, and also his other half.
I've got a joke to tell. How do you catch a fish without a fishing rod? With your bare hands. That's a good one. That's a good one. Okay, we've got a couple of awards. These are quite special. And I don't hit it just yet, but we've got two guys that I want to recognise tonight for their contribution to the club, on and off the field. One on the field, one off the field, and one more off the field. The first guy was the first guy we ever signed at the club in 2015 in League One. It was, Tom and I were like, the first thing we need to do, we've got to find some guys in the engine room, some guys that are going to lead by example, be able to take it up the middle, be tough, be strong. And one of the first posts I saw him make on Facebook was quite funny because we were in the dead of winter. It was like December, everyone's getting in the middle of pre-season. He's like, I'm heading over next week, but right now I'm on the beach in North Queensland. And, it was like blue water on his feet. Within about 2 days, he was on, I think it was like Cotswold and a bit of foot snow. And he's like, what the hell have I come to here? What am I doing here? But ever since then, he's on the field. He's led from the front. Off the field, he's been a fantastic ambassador for the club. I don't know why it's not working for me, but he's been a fantastic ambassador for the club. He's been there. The other thing as well, a couple of stories, I've got to tell a few stories, but might as well put him up. Gertrude. So I'm talking about the Gert Show. So just to recognise his contribution to the club, he's a couple of other stories I thought about what can I say about this guy. Yeah, it's all right, but the great thing actually is he bailed us out of a great thing every year, and it's the beginning of every year the club has a media day, and what that is basically myself and Tom have got to go to Manchester with all the other clubs, and we get interviewed, we get videoed, we get all the pictures taken, and then one player from the club has to go to wear the kit, the next kit for next year. Anyone that knows me knows I love my kit, knows I love my kit design, stuff like that. And we used to have a massive panic every year to go like, we've got to get the kit ready so whoever comes to the media day can wear the kit. So like every day we used to put it out, back then we used to put it out a bit to the players. First one every time, Gertch said, I can do it. I'm like, all right, next year I can do it, all right. 4 years, I think he did it every.
I'm the best looking player.
4 years. But actually, but you don't realise that the only reason you got picked is because actually you're just really tall and
I have a license.
I'm good looking. But you look at the picture every year. If you look back at all the pictures from the media day at the beginning of every League One year, they have the team like this, and the tallest guys are in the middle. So obviously Gertch did it. For the last 4 years, Gertch has done it. He's been a great model. But yeah, God knows who I'm going to get to do it next year. But he always put his hand up. I think the point I'm trying to make is he used to put his hand up for all the little crappy jobs. He's been in Big Blue at the Rico. He's been in primary schools in the middle of Hillfields. Everybody knows Gertch, and like what he's done for the club is invaluable. A few people that were going to be here tonight, John Kiley couldn't make it tonight. I asked John Kiley to come along, who's the franchise owner of McDonald's, and he said, "I've got to come. Gertch is one of my best customers. I've got to come." He actually said that to me. He said to me, he's not only a brilliant ambassador for the Bears, he said he's probably the best sporting ambassador McDonald's have ever had in Coventry, and that is the truth. And that's, you got the Bears, everything else. Anyway, just want to thank him for all his service on the field, off the field. We've been on a journey for 4 years. He's been involved in other Bears down under, Birdie Bears, and a great club. And I think Mike spent some time with those guys when he was in Australia. And, everybody speaks highly of him. And we're really sorely gonna miss you, mate. And I wish you all the best. And no one deserves this more than you, mate.
Yeah, 4 years. Me and Irene came here 4 years ago, expecting to be here for probably 1 year.
We want you to stay.
I'd love to stay, but unfortunately then she'll leave me, so. In 3 weeks' time, you'll be in the cold and I'll be on the beach in the Gold Coast, so good luck, everybody. When I first got here, I come here with Simon Phillips, and I remember playing in Gloucester in mud about that thick. Then went to Oldham, I think 3 times in 4 weeks, and I said to Simon, I said, "What are we doing?" All the boys said it's like this all year, but it comes good. But I've really enjoyed my time here. I've actually changed my career as well. So I was a plasterer back home. I didn't really like my job. I did it for 10 years. And since then, I've been doing all the community stuff and all the junior stuff, and I've really enjoyed it. And and now when I go back, I've got a couple of interviews with NRL and Queensland Reds and everything, so I could potentially change my whole life from coming here, so that's awesome. But most of all, like the last 4 years, the development we've done, every year I think we've got that step a little bit better. How good was it beating the two teams I've always wanted to beat? Keithley and Hunslet, and I've really enjoyed that, especially they awesome. We'll definitely miss the people and the fans, and the fans are the best. Like I said on Facebook, I think we've had some bad games where we've been embarrassed and we've got absolutely obliterated, but regardless, the fans always standing up, giving us a clap, no negative comments, and we really appreciate that, and that's what helps us get better. And thanks for give everyone a clap. Thanks, everyone. Thank you very much.
We're just going to recognise someone else here that's the double act of the duo, and that's Irene. Irene, that's the best player in the world. I remember when we took that, when we played the Bears Fives, and I said to Irene, would you mind, we need a picture of a girl, doing rugby. Irene's come down, all gear, ready for the photo, and I'm like, be a bear, it was like, what's that movie, the movie.
Austin Powers.
The dragon one, 2 dragons. That's not over, isn't it? Yeah, 2 dragons. Oh! He missed it, didn't hear that one. Hey, Tom, 2 dragons. But anyway, just a special mention to Irene for putting up with Gertch and everywhere else. And she's always been there. She's always been in the stand. It's fantastic to think that, you've got someone really strong behind someone that tries really hard, but at the end of the day, the double act, they've looked after, Irene's not only looked after Gertch, but she's been in the house with Jammer and Connor and all the boys. She's put up with a lot, so she really does deserve some serious recognition, and I wish you both the absolute best for the future, and I hope you'll speak highly of the Bears in the future and come back and see us one day with about 5 kids.
Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate appreciate it. And the Bears, thank you everyone. I really appreciate the special mention, and thank you so much to the Bears. It's been great coming to watch all the games and support the team, and it's quite different to the teams that you go and watch in Australia, because you don't have all this. All the fans are really lovely. We've got to meet some great people here. The guys in the team are really lovely. They're always welcoming and saying hello. And Debbie, Boomer, everyone's been really great. So we've had a great 4 years here. We'll really miss everyone, but we'll be watching and we'll keep in touch. And wish you all the best for the future. Thank you so much.
Right, we're going to reverse back, guys. Let the cat out of the bag. I'm great at letting cats out of bags. But this man, Connor Kelly, give us a shout, Connor, give us a handle, give us a hand. What can I say about this man? Well, back in 2010, I was lucky enough to coach Ireland against the USA in Philadelphia. It was Tom and I were working for the RFL at the time, and it was a great achievement for me to coach the team that the country I played for. Didn't know what to expect at the time, but Connor was actually team manager on that trip, and we could tell some great stories. Well, actually, I could tell a couple of stories. Should I tell a story or two? No. We had well, actually, I'll tell a really quick story, but if anyone's been to Philadelphia, they'll know the place. Why is this not working? They'll know of a street called South Street. Does anyone know South Street? It's like the main strip sort of in Philadelphia where everyone goes drinking. And I said we all got there, and I said to Connor, we got there normally when Ireland play the US. It's sort of a 4-day trip. This was like a 6-day trip, so we thought, well, God, we're there all week. We arrived on a Tuesday, we're playing on a Saturday, and then we're flying back on a Sunday. How are we going to stop all the Ireland boys from going out and getting smashed every single night before we play on Saturday? So Connor and I sat down. I remember sat in the hotel, and we got there, and we thought, what can we do? So I said, well, look, why don't we just go out tonight, get everyone absolutely smashed, tell them all they've got to be at training tomorrow for 12 o'clock, and then after that, they can't drink till after the match. So it was a bit mental, but we thought, look, boys, let yourselves go, enjoy yourselves, and then we'll focus for the rest of the week. And I played the US 5 times myself as a player. I knew that defensively, always, if we could hold them up in the middle, we could do the job. But we went out that night, and I think we probably drank the bar we went to, we literally drank the place dry. But everyone was there training at 12 o'clock, and Connor and I formed a real bond from that. And since then, over the years, over the next 3 or 4 years, we've been involved in Ireland Rugby League. And Connor was a guy that I could trust and knew that he could when I said for him to do something, he could deliver and do it. When we got to League One, I needed some help, and not many people would actually move over to not many people would move from Dublin to Coventry to give up their time, give up their job. And Connor came over and find work over here and work with the club and work with myself. He's been here for the last 4 years. He's given massive sacrifices to the club. There's not many people you can trust to be there for you, and off the field you need that as much support as you do on the field. And Connor's been there for me for myself, but for all the boys, he's lived with Gertch and Jammer and all the boys, and he's mucked in, and he's been there. He's picked guys up in the middle of the snow and taken them to training. He's been down and toe to toe himself, doing a bit of training. And he's also, I think he's probably done a bit of damage locally as well on Tinder. I don't know why he's going home or not, because it's kind of right out. But, he's been there for the club and he's done a great job. So he deserves some recognition. And Connor, come on, receive your award, mate.
I have to say, I didn't see that coming. Level 11.
Where's my kid?
No, I'm going to keep it a bit shorter than Boomer and Gorjo. I just want to say thank you to everyone for making me welcome in Coventry. I've had a great 4 years. I look forward to coming back and supporting and possibly coming back with an opposition club soon. I won't say any more about that, but thanks so much and all the best in the future.
Thanks, mate. Just double check what's coming up next. Just I'll finish off here. We'll have a little break, and then we'll do the alternative awards. Just to another quick thank your sponsors, everyone that's here, and all our season ticket members, the vice presidents, Ron Banks, Michael Shires, Hugh Bryan, and our vice presidents. Ron needs no introduction. He's been here with me from day one. He's the shoulder for me to talk to about everything in regards to rugby league. He's a barrow / bear, but I like to think he's more of a bear than a barrow. He's always there for me, and he's a father figure to me. Michael, a lot of you might not know Michael Shires, but he's moved from Dewsbury to North Midlands to West Midlands, and now he's settled in Solihull. And Michael's again another man who's there for me to be a shoulder to discuss everything to do with the club, and he puts a lot of effort into the club, or off the field, in regards to our events and things like that. And he deserves a mention because what he gives to the club, it really is unbelievable. Hugh's there again. He's always been here. He's here supporting Alex in the club on a game day. His administration is massively helpful and supportive to the club, and I'm indebted to him as well for his support. Just a round of applause for those three guys, please.
Just lastly, before we do the alternative awards, personally, knowing myself also, I just wanted to thank all the wives and girlfriends of all the players and the staff, as I know what you have to put up with. But just a special thanks to Dr. Tsang's wife, who sacrificed Dr. Tsang, even when he was on paternity leave, to come to the Bears game. So,
I've actually got another prize here for Matt. Matt, I've got a prize for you here, mate, as well. Just for those of you who don't know, Matt and his partner, Matt is Tom's brother. He's also our club doctor. People who are involved in rugby league know how difficult it is to find doctors and medical staff these days, and this guy, honestly, without him, we wouldn't have a club. I've got a Toronto Wolfpack shirt here, mate. This looks fantastic. Off Mascot Bryans. If you don't know Mascot Bryans, Phil and Steve here. Check these guys out before you go. But just to thank Matt and the Tsang family. Without you guys, we wouldn't have game day. And we hope you stay involved with the club. And it's a family affair really with everyone here. So you guys are massively part of that. So just wanted to recognise that. Everyone else on our medical team, Edwin Knight. Edwin, stick your hand up, mate. Edwin Knight, Edwin deserves a massive mention. I don't think I've ever met anyone that looks after more teams and sports teams in sport. The guy is an absolute legend. If you need any medical provision, that guy is the guy that'll fix you and put you back together. And what he's done for us is invaluable. I think we're probably going to have a little break now, and then we'll come back for Alex Brown's best comedy. So have a 5-minute drink break, and we'll come back in the room.
Is everybody ready? Okay. The first alternative award is the Old Age Player Award. We thought it was a bit harsh that there's a young player of the year without there being an old player of the year. So we had a bit of we had a vote as coaches, and third was Chris Vitellini. He's not that old, but he started acting like an old man as the season went on. He picked up a lot of knocks, he couldn't get involved in a lot of training sessions, and he used to moan about it quite a lot. In second place was Paul Emanuele. Again, as the season went on, he was made like an egg, and he had a delicate shell, and he turned up to training on a Tuesday, and the first question would be, "We're not doing contact tonight, are we? Because I need to go see the physio if we are." But as coaches, the out-and-out winner by far was James Gurchins. So, the reason, literally, we'd start Gurchin the game, 2 minutes in, he started looking like he'd had enough and he needed to come out. Hello? Yeah, so it was the look on his face. You know, we know he's done a few miles. Again, he's another one at a turn up with training, and he'd say to me, "No contact tonight, please, Brownie, no contact." So, but he did really well, and he was probably our OAP of the year. So I've got the walking stick with Coventry Bears OAP of the year 2018. Good, Jenny Wood. How's the body?
The body's all right, considering. An absolute honour to win old person of the year, especially from you, the oldest Coventry Bear of all time. What is that?
Yeah, for the alternative awards, you've got a little shot for every player that wins one.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Last time we did this, it went bad.
Thank you anyways, I'll be back on later, so cheers everyone.
Cheers, Gertch. I'm going to pass it. Gertch, give us a glass back, we need to recycle, mate. I had to bring my own spirits. I had to raid the brown spirit cabinet for this.
Real absent.
Right, I'm going to pass on to Sloney now for Champagne Moment of the Year.
So Champagne Moment, we've had a couple of really good tries this year that we scored, a couple of times where we've cut teams apart. One of the tries that I remember was Bassey in the Challenge Cup, where it was like, how's he got that down? He's going out, there's about 5 on him, and he's just bombed it down. But the champagne moment really is probably it is a lot more recent in memory. Last week against Whitehaven, just disgusting, pornographic hands, like real, just just dirty. Like Whitehaven, I've been going up shouting. So champagne moment is Reese and Cam filthy porn trying to cover. I only got some filthy porn injury in his lips as well.
I have no idea how I did it, I'm not going to lie. I'm very glad Reece finished it. That's what's important. I was a metre away from it. I don't know how he did it either. Like the ball just fell in my hand and I got hurt from it. But I got it down.
Oh, Reece, people might as well stay.
This one. I mean, look what he's wearing. He couldn't have dressed any better for the occasion. Best dressed player for 2018. Just look at this guy. Give us a twirl. Coolest guy in town. Reece. Here you go.
Someone's going over
I didn't have any. Hitman of the Year. Basically, Some people would say that his entire season was built on one tackle. I think when we went back up there to play Working, Fui kind of intentionally ran away from Pete. Shithouse. Pete, hit man of the year, mate.
Can we understand him?
Cheers, everyone. Hopefully, Fui retires, so we don't want to deal with him anymore.
Pete said, thank you very much, and he hopes Fui retires.
The next award is Best Hair Award. And so, this morning I was at home and I said to my little girl, I need to give an award tonight to one of our players, and he's your favourite player, because she comes to a lot of the games and the only player she talks about is the man with the big hair, Dante. So she said, I'll draw him a picture, make sure you give it to Dante. So if you can see, she got the hair right. But what the hell is this? I was like, oh my god, what is going on? She said she slipped with a pen. And she hasn't got her D's right, so it's Dante. So Dante, how old are you, mate? Next up, passing it to Sloney for Team Judas of the Year. Teammate Judas of the Year.
So, Judas, for all those who are biblically inclined, sticks his mate up, sticks his mate Jesus up. So, this award goes to the player or players who've accidentally on purpose got their mate creamed. There were two Team Judases that we were looking at. One was in arguably the biggest game in our history against Widnes. Chris Vitellini took the ball to the line and then floated a little pass in the air to Joel, who just got melted by a Super League. That was lovely. But again, in more recent memory, Ben Stead, one of our best attacking players, thought, we can do without Baz for a couple of weeks. It's not a problem. Chucked him, little ball, nice blue lights flashing on it. There you go, lad. There you go, mate. You're hard. You can take that. And Baz got one straight in the guts. I thought he'd shit himself at one point. So steady, Judas.
Baz can do this for me as well, so he does all my tackling as well.
Pull him out. The next award is the biggest strain on resources. And this really goes back to pre-season. It was 100% the biggest strain on our physio resource in pre-season. I didn't even think we were going to get him on the field at one point. And then he was on the verge of quitting. Walk that way. And then he was on the verge of quitting. Okay. Then he was on the verge of quitting after he'd had about 6 months physio. So there can be only one, Reece Rats. And I just want to say, once he did get on the field, what a great season he's had back under the season. Well done, Reece. This is what's going on? Oh. Too soon. Obviously everyone knows the game was delayed today. Errol passed his minibus driving test this week, but he forgot he was driving his BMW. took it a bit hard.
Explain how it happened.
Errol and Aggie, come up, boys. So the game was today. Look, on a serious note, thank God these boys were alright and they're here to have these shots. Errol, tell us what happened, mate, before you do your shot.
You should have been kissing while you were driving.
I was driving, I went around a roundabout, hit a bit of water, and skidded off into a tree. I got a bit distracted by him.
Get him down, boys, get him down. Well done. Okay, we've got one more to go. And this is more of a staff one than anything. But this is what we call the away day swerve. So the member of staff that got out of the most away trips or came up with an excuse. The runner-up is Ed. Because how many games did Ed put Mez on when it was like a 4-hour trip? Apart from last week. And we couldn't believe how many away trips, all the long ones, Ed got out of. But fair play came last week, so Ed was the runner-up. But he couldn't get close to Boomer. Boomer? I mean, I don't know if he's been banned from Cumbria, because he didn't step into Cumbria once, so I don't know if there's a story we don't know about. Something was going on. So Boomer, come and have a shot, mate. Never turning up for the long away trips, mate. Always a reason, always an excuse. Swerving away days. Being too busy for the long trip. Or have you got a story about why you can't go to Cumbria? Just to finish, look, I know as coaches, we've really enjoyed working with the players this year. We've had a really good group of players, and the attitude of the boys has been brilliant. And as the season's gone on, it's a real close group that we've got, and we're, you know, even the staff, we're all close. And I think just to mention something, just for the fans here, you know, like some of the sort of effort and commitment the boys show. Like when we were going to Whitehaven last week, we only had 16 fit players, and a couple of the lads at the time were really struggling to do that trip as well. So just an example of that is Mal. Actually, Mal hasn't won the awards tonight, but last week I was talking to Mal, and without Mal last week we would have had 15 players. But Mal, boys, yeah, okay. So this is an example of the sort of commitment one of our players has got, which, you know, just was everything we needed last week really. But Mal was up till 2 in the morning on Saturday night doing his dissertation for uni. At 5:30, he had to leave his home from South London to travel to Coventry for 8:30 for another 5-hour coach trip, which he turned up late for, to Cumbria, right? Then play a game of rugby, then do the 5 hours back, then go back to South London, then finish his dissertation the next day. That's the sort of commitment our players have put in this thing. And then there's Errol that comes up from training from Bournemouth. There's the boys from Wales, there's boys from London, there's boys travelling from all over, and that's why we win the games like Keighley, the games like today. It's the effort these boys have put in, because if we didn't do that, we wouldn't be near them. So just thanks to all the players from us, boys.
Thank you, Alex. Just last thing, I know everyone's getting a bit itchy and maybe a bit hungry and maybe wants another drink. Oh, before we hand on to James and Chris, I know there's a bit, like Boomer went on for about half an hour before on his monologue. Chris and James. We just wanted, as a coaching staff and on behalf of the players as well, we know that Connor's leaving us, has already been said, for about half an hour earlier about him going home. But we just wanted to say again, just another massive thank you to Connor for all your work over the last 4 years, and we've got